Why do you think the intelligence community treats the right-wing extremist threat, the white supremacist threat, differently than other terroristic threats?
Well, they empathize with it. They have some acceptance of knowledge of that, well, this is somebody who just is disgruntled with the government, and we always had that. And that could look like my uncle, that could look like my neighbor.
Because law enforcement and the extremists are both white, is his answer. Is that why CAIR never confronts violent Muslims? Because the terrorists and CAIR look so much alike?
Hussein worries the FBI is set up to make the same mistakes all over again.
We have continued what we have done in this country, which is to continually marginalize people of color and people who are not the majority, instead of actually going after credible threat. And credible threat can come from someone who looks like you, and that's the hardest for law enforcement.
Jailani Hussein goes on about the FBI ignoring credible threats. However, CAIR has never confronted an obnoxious imam or violent Muslim on TV in the last 3 years.
Jailani Hussein says his community has seen both sides of the war on terror.
It's because we live it, bro.
And then we see an isolated incident from almost 4 years ago. That's not every day. Go to CAIR's website and look at their press releases from the last 6 months or so. A large percentage of those releases are about things that have nothing to do with CAIR or Muslims. CAIR is not under attack. On the contrary, they are attacking.
It's because we live it, bro.
Mostly white people, every month, in public and on TV. The only knowledge or expertise they bring to the subject of the Capitol riot,
it's because we live it, bro,
is their disdain for white people. As an example of a perceived double standard, the station compares Dayton Sock to Muslims trying to join ISIS.
But the community also came under suspicion when 40 young men were charged with traveling to Somalia and Syria to fight for terror groups. Though they never threatened America directly, many were given long 20-year sentences. Meanwhile, someone like Dayton Sock, charged with threatening to kill police at the Minneapolis Capitol, is looking at only a fraction of the time.
How could someone confuse a mentally ill, although very dangerous, individual with one of the scourges of the 20th century, Islamic terrorism? How does CAIR manage to have this stupefying effect on people, particularly local newscasters? Well, it's easier to fool people when they want to be fooled. TV stations around the country have been shoehorning CAIR into broadcasts about the Capitol riots. But CAIR has nothing to do with the Capitol riots.
Well, several groups, including the Council on American and Islamic Relations, better known as CAIR, are on high alert following the Capitol attacks.
In there with colleagues where we are not able to carry food in our purses through the underground tunnels.
However, it is by choice that CAIR does not get involved in stories like Trevor William Forrest.
Prosecutors allege he is one of the most dangerous and influential English-speaking extremists in the world.
The way forward is not the bullet, the way forward is the bullet.
This week, Trevor William Forrest, who authorities say goes by the name Sheikh Faisal, arrived in New York in handcuffs after being extradited from Jamaica, where he's a citizen.
He has been cited officially by the U.S. Department of the Treasury as a global terrorist threat.
Authorities say the man who killed 8 people on Halloween in 2017 by driving a pickup truck on a pedestrian pathway on Manhattan's West Side listened to the preachings of Faisal. They say others who were influenced by him include the 2009 underwear bomber who tried to blow up a plane and the 2010 attempted car bomber in Times Square.
Cholo Abdi Abdullah.
The FBI says this 30-year-old Kenyan traveled to the Philippines to learn how to fly a jetliner. All part of an alleged plan to try to hijack a commercial airliner and fly it into a skyscraper. The FBI director says he wanted to cause a mass casualty incident within our borders.
Jill Marie Jones.
Well, 35-year-old Jill Marie Jones is accused of sending money to who she thought was a member of al-Qaeda. It was an undercover FBI agent.
Jonathan Z.
Terror suspect Jonathan G. stood stoically in front of Judge Mark Falk as his mother and father fought back tears. The 20-year-old Basking Ridge resident is charged with 2 counts of attempting to provide support to a terrorist organization by donating money to Hamas.
The Pensacola Naval Air Station.
We're back with the Fox News alert. 6 Saudi nationals taken into custody after a Saudi gunman, a terrorist, opens fire, killing 3 people at a naval air station in Florida.
And the New York Times is reporting that 3 of the 6 were seen taking video footage of the incident, the violent shooting on Friday, as it unfolded.
This shooting was an act of terrorism that definitively establishes al-Shamrani's significant ties to al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula, not only before the attack, but before he even arrived in the United States.
The Corpus Christi Naval Air Station.
The FBI says a shooting at a naval air station in Texas was an act of terrorism. One sailor was wounded and the gunman killed. And there are questions tonight about whether he acted alone.
Today's incident comes 6 months after another attack on a naval facility in Pensacola, Florida, which authorities linked to al-Qaeda. Mohammed al-Shrani killed 3 sailors and injured 8 others.
My message to Trump, the puppet of the Jews. Allah has promised us victory and He has promised you defeat. This battle is not going to end in Raqqa or Mosul. It's going to end in New Orleans. By the will of Allah, we will have victory. So get ready, for the fighting has just begun.
Much has changed in America since the terror attacks on 9/11 nearly 20 years ago. But maybe not our mindset. The attack on the U.S. Capitol last month may change that.
Critics say for too long we have ignored the risk of violent extremism coming from American soil. A threat that doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. Here's Tom.
Make sure to tell your friends that 20 years after 9/11, the nation's greatest threat is not jihad, but white people. That's according to your local newscasters and the Council on American Islamic Relations.